one of the things we've kind of come to realize is it's a trade-off when you're living this lifestyle. It's like you're going to have problems. Things are going to come up. Inconveniences are going to happen. You got to be prepared for it, and it helps to go in there with the mindset of, okay, something will go wrong. It's just a matter of when.
This is the Adventure Sports Podcast, where we talk to athletes, adventurers, and business owners from around the world of adventure sports. Whether you're climbing Mount Everest, starting a bike shop, or getting up off your couch to take your kids hiking for the first time, we want you to have the motivation and inspiration you need to chase that next adventure. The Adventure Sports Podcast is brought to you by Camp Crate, the leaders in fully planned self-guided backpacking adventures, as well as backpacking gear rental. You can check them out at campcrate.net. Before I knew better, I used to carry cans of food into the backcountry like a doofus. Obviously, I don't do that anymore. I use freeze-dried food, and I really only use Peak Refuel, the best backpacking food, the best freeze-dried food in the world. And if you keep listening to the episode, I can show you how to save 20% off an order if you want some. Powder 7's team of ski experts makes buying skis pretty easy. They're actually known for helping customers find the right gear specifically for them. They even sell used skis, which is pretty cool. Plus, Powder 7 ships to just about anywhere in the world, and they have incredibly fast shipping in the U.S. Visit them online at powder7.com, or you can stop by their store in Golden, Colorado. All right, everybody, so welcome to the show. Today we have Caleb Simpson, and he is coming from his home, which has wheels, and his family of 5, including him, all live in this RV. He and his wife are serial entrepreneurs. I'm taking the liberty to say that, Caleb. I don't know if you call yourself that or not. Yeah, they live and work in this home, and Caleb's an Ultrarunner, owns some businesses. Man, really interesting story. I'm excited to get into it. Caleb, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Super excited to chat.
Yes, sir. So usually when I ask the first question, I kind of know the answer, but today I honestly have no clue. Where are you coming from?
So we're in Texas today too. We're in Denton, Texas to be exact. And so that's just north of Dallas. It's a cool little college town. It's actually where I grew up and went to college, and so that's where we're at right now. That's
awesome. So is that kind of home for y'all when you're kind of stationary for a little bit?
Well, it had been Austin, Texas. That's where we were at for 8 years when I owned my previous business, and we don't really have anywhere we call home base right now. That's kind of here for right now. And the main reason we're here, we kind of had a little bit of a detour. We were kind of expecting to be out in the desert around this time, but our daughter got sick, so we decided to kind of just stay put for a while and let her get better. And now we're up here in Denton, and it's kind of a little gloomy up here right now. It's been a lot of cold weather, but hey, you take what you get.
Dang, man, that's is she okay now or getting better?
Yeah, she's fine. She's fine. We just decided, I'm sure we might get to this in a little bit, but I just started a new business, so we're kind of trying to stay put for a little bit, just so we could focus mainly on that, because it gets a little hard to do work when you're constantly moving around.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I've moved around independently, but not with a family, man. That's just awesome. That's crazy. So, I checked y'all out on Instagram, and I see that it says a debt-free community, and it seemed kind of like maybe that kicked all this off. Tell us like what you do, and how you and your family ended up living in this RV, traveling around, and how long you plan on doing it.
Okay, so currently I'm running a CBD oil company called Hemp Daddies, and that's what I do right now. And and I'm able to do that completely from the road. Prior to this, I ran an energy bar company called Bearded Brothers, and that was a job that didn't necessarily allow me to travel like we wanted to, but that was what I was doing, and we were running that out of Austin. And when I started that company, my family, we were in debt. I had just gotten married too, so. My wife had about, $40,000 in student loans. I had a car payment, and I had a mortgage on a home up here in Denton. Like I said, we're here right now. I had a home up here. There was a mortgage on that. So we had just had debt up to our eyeballs, and we decided to get just, super aggressive and pay that down. So just pretty much every spare dollar we had was going to pay down that debt. Then eventually kind of the housing market turned around. We sold that home, used that money to put towards the student loan. Then all of a sudden, like we looked up, we're like, this debt was paid off. And we're in a position where our lease was about to be up in our apartment, and we'd been there for 2 or 3 years. So we're kind of done living there, but we didn't know where we wanted to go. Then my wife just got this random idea. She's like, well, why don't we live in an RV? I was like, you're crazy. I was like, there's no way I could live in the RV. And we just had our first daughter at the time. So she was about 2 at that time. I was like, there's no way we can live in an RV with a little kid. Like, not happening. But she kept, I know and I'm more of the adventure seeker. I used to, do a lot of rock climbing, love to be out, on the rocks every weekend and, doing trail running more now. But, I was more the adventure type. And like I said, she was the one trying to convince me to move into an RV, which is crazy. So it didn't, probably after a couple weeks of mentioning it, we started just kind of trying to crunch the numbers and seeing how that would look. And it's like, oh man, if we sold the truck, we had not the truck, we bought a truck. So we sold, had a Subaru Outback. We sold the Subaru Outback, used that money to buy a truck, and we sold almost everything else we owned to end up buying the RV. And so that's how we got into it. Mainly our lease was going to be up, and we kind of just saw the opportunity and jumped on it. So we sold everything we owned, bought a used RV, bought a used truck, and we kind of kicked off the first leg of our journey. We spent our summer up in Colorado, and when we were up there, I ran the Wasatch 100. So that was in Utah. So most of my training was in Colorado. Then we went up to Utah for that. And I don't know if you've probably heard of the 24 Hours of Horseshoe Hell. It's a rock climbing event. So we went up to that in Arkansas. My company at the time was a sponsor of that. So we did that. And so we had this big, 3-month, journey, when we first kicked off, living in the RV.
There's so much going on there, but, and that is crazy. You're right that it was your wife's idea. That's so cool.
Yeah.
What an adventure. Dang. So, so would you say being debt free kind of gave you the freedom and the ability to kind of kick all this off?
Oh yeah, 100%. If we still had debt, I don't know that we would have done this. I have run across some people that, kind of do the whole RV thing that are paying off debt, but they're not necessarily traveling. They've just done it from the standpoint of downsizing their life, reducing the rent, and, and using that angle to attack their debt, because living in an RV, your rent is like so low, and a lot of people think it's like this super expensive lifestyle. The reality of it is it's not much more expensive than if you owned a home, because you're not paying a mortgage. Your money it's going to gas in RV parking spots basically, which is pretty much comes out to what you would be paying a mortgage. And granted, RV, it's things break on it just like it would a home. So the money you would be spending on to fix your air conditioner on your home, you might be buying new tires on your RV. So, yeah.
So man, that is crazy. But so to back up, you started your first company. I want to talk about your companies, the one you have now as well. But you started Bearded Brothers, and I did some research on that. That's an organic energy bar. Probably similar to Cliff Bar is what it seemed like. But was it you and your brother that started that? And it seemed to really take off. It seems to be a pretty good sized brand now.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we started that as about 8 years ago now. And so it's my brother-in-law. And so we grew it to about 2,000 locations nationwide. And about like last year, we got stretched thin. It's like, it got to the point, the business was still growing. It's still there. We sold the business to another family who had like a family office, and they had capital to inject into it. So they basically took over the operations of everything. We kept a little bit of equity, and, and that gave us the opportunity to go out and do new things. And it was a great opportunity for me, because we wanted to be doing a little bit more traveling in the RV. But since we had this production facility in Austin and just these employees to manage, we weren't able to get away as much as we wanted. So we saw it as a good opportunity to, move on and do something new. And at the same time, like, continue to see the company that we built up continue to grow and thrive, and continue to see traction and continue to get out there in the market.
Man, that's really awesome. Wow. That's so cool. So you sold it. That gave you some money to, do what you're doing now. And how long have you and your wife and family been on the road?
So we've been in the RV for 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. But we haven't been, well, like I said, when we had the other company, weren't as mobile as we'd like to have been. We'd get away during the summers or maybe for a week during spring break. We'd, take it to take the RV to a trail race. So we didn't do as much traveling as we wanted to, but now we have the freedom to move about wherever we want because the new business I'm running, I can run it from anywhere. And so that's kind of what we're doing now. So kind of, again, once, we saw the exit from Bearded Brothers, we took off to Colorado. We were up there for a couple months, and then we had to come back to Texas. We had a few family weddings and the holidays kicked in and all that stuff. And so that's kind of why we're still back here in Texas. We're eventually going to make our way back out west. Our plan is to late spring get out to Yosemite and visit there because I've yet to visit Yosemite. So that's been a dream of mine for a long time. So we'll probably hit up Yosemite in late spring. It's going to be weird going there as a non-rock climber though, because I always dreamed as going there as a rock climber, but I haven't climbed since I've had 3 kids. So,
I can imagine.
But still, it's got all the trails and everything. So it's still going to be an amazing experience, I'm sure.
Yosemite is by far my favorite place on planet Earth. And I'm so excited for you guys. That's probably my favorite time to go because the waterfalls are just going to be full blast, full steam ahead. Yeah. And it's going to be, it's something you'll never forget, man. It's awesome. Nothing like Yosemite in this whole world. To me, I'm a little biased.
Oh yeah. I don't doubt it. We're super excited. I mean, I know the pictures I see don't even do it justice. So we can't wait to get out there.
Dang. I'm so excited about that for you. And your whole family, they're gonna love it. So man, that is crazy. So why an RV and why that radical, and then get into how difficult is it really, because you have lived life running a business just like you were before, from a home, stationary. How much different and how much more difficult is it to do what you do now?
So what I'm doing now is much easier. So I'll speak first to like the transition into the RV. Like, okay, I mean, that was like way easier than I thought it was going to be. And it's like, it's so freeing just not to have all this stuff to deal with. Cause I've owned a home before. I know what it's like. It's like you're constantly having to deal with upkeep and maintenance, and there's always things going on. There's always stuff you have to deal with. And so like, it's just so freeing to like not have as much stuff to deal with. And kind of part of our family mission statement is to enjoy experiences over possessions. And so we put most of our focus on, going outside, being outdoors, like doing, trail races, going camping and just doing all these things that, put us outdoors into nature. And the RV helps with that. It's like, you're pretty much always outdoors, and the RV is so small, you end up just naturally going outside a lot because you're in this small space. In the small space itself, is fine. It's like, we're used to it. And like now when we, occasionally we might house sit for a friend or visit a friend, we kind of get overwhelmed in such a big environment and so much space and so much stuff to clean. And like in an RV, it's like your house may get messy fast, but it takes like 10 to 20 minutes to clean up the entire house. It's crazy. But in terms of the business now, it's like I'm doing a business now that can be run remotely because I got, somebody else taking care of my manufacturing. And so mainly all I have to focus on is the customer service and the marketing. Was before I'm managing a facility, I'm managing employees, I got a business partner. And so now everything is just like much more conducive to the lifestyle we want to live because there's less overhead, less problems, less stressors. And it's just like, a pretty straightforward business model that allows us a lot more freedom and flexibility.
Okay. So yeah, I was going to ask them, that was my next set of questions is, how did you get into the business you do now, and how have you managed to basically get it so automated where you can operate a business out of your tiny house?
Yeah, totally. So the business I'm in now is, like we said just earlier at the start of the show, is CBD oil. The company is Hemp Daddies, and I got into this because of some chronic injuries I've had. So I've been struggling with like Achilles tendonitis from, my trail running. And I've also had like chronic bursitis in my shoulder from a car accident years ago. And somebody has suggested, well, have you tried CBD oil yet? It's like, well, yeah, I know what it is. I'm very aware of it. And, just was a fan of it, even though I've never even tried it. So I was like, well, this stuff is probably good, so I should go ahead and try it. And so I got my first bottle of CBD oil from an MLM company, and the stuff worked amazing. I started seeing results like almost immediately. I was sleeping better, and I never struggled with sleep that much. I could fall asleep easy, but I would wake up a few times a night. I started sleeping better. Like the inflammation in my Achilles tendonitis and bursitis was going down. And I was like, well, this stuff is amazing. And I'd randomly heard some guys on a podcast talking about CBD oil, and they had a farm up in Colorado. And these guys were based out of Austin, where I was at right now. So I was like, I got to talk to these guys. So we met up and had some beers and just talked all about CBD oil in the industry, the things that were wrong with it and the things that they're fixing. I was like, these guys know what they're doing. And so like, I just knew right then that I wanted to be involved in the industry. I didn't yet know how I was going to be involved, because I still owned Bearded Brothers at the time. We'd even thought about putting it in our products, but never really pulled the trigger. But after we kind of transitioned out of the business, it's like, well, I got to do something else. And I really don't want to go work from someone else, because I'm going to be punching a clock. I'm going to be on their schedule. So I gave the guys a call and said, hey, I want to start selling CBD oil. And so they're like, all right, cool. And they have a manufacturing operation. They grow all their own hemp. It's USDA organic hemp. They grow it all. They extract it. They produce the products. And so they're basically producing the products to my specification, and they warehouse it for me. They ship it out of their warehouse as well. So like, I don't have to touch the inventory. I get my own products, and I keep a few extras for sending out samples and things like that. But for the most part, these guys are handling, the production into things and the shipping into things. So that frees me up. I mean, like I said, all I have to do is customer service and the marketing into things. And right now it's a one-man show. We're still small enough that I'm doing it all myself. And as I grow this business, my plan is to not, go get an office and settle down. It's going to be hire more people like myself who want to work remotely, and have more flexibility. And I'll start hiring people like that. They can work out of their home or their RV or wherever. And, they'll be my team that works with me, rather than, having this, central location that everyone has to go into and punch a clock, because there's so many people out there that want similar lifestyles that are willing to work jobs like this. And so that's kind of my plan for, long-term growth, is just adding other remote people like myself that can help grow the business.
So yeah, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I used to carry cans of food into the backcountry, and I know there's a lot lighter things to do, but there's just a lot of options that aren't good for you or are either too heavy, and that's why I really do use Peak Refuel now. They're a new backpacking food company, and I say backpacking food, really it's just freeze-dried food that you can use for anything. I've actually eaten it for dinner before with my family, because it's real food. It does not taste like backpacking food or hunting food or something that you're only going to eat in the backcountry. It's delicious, high in protein, nutritious. It is going to refuel you. It is filling, huge portions, and I really encourage you all to give it a shot. At least try it out, and that is peakrefuel.com. And if you want to get 20% off an order, use the code ASP20, and that's capital ASP and then 20. Now, back to the episode. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the mindset. I love the philosophy going into it, just to say, I got my hand up right now, because I'm one of those people that wants that kind of lifestyle. I don't want to go punch a clock for somebody. I want to do something I care about and believe in. Before I get more into what CBD is, because I'm not super aware, I don't know a whole lot about it. How difficult is it to run all that out of your RV with 3 kids running around?
It's not too hard. I mean, like, I have to, like, a couple of days a week, I'll go off to a coffee shop, so I can really get some focused work done. But for the most part, I just shut myself in, went into the RV and crank out some work. And, the family, they'll get out and go on in a little adventure. They're off at the library in town right now, and it's too cold for them to hang outside right now. But, if it was nice outside, they'd be outside playing. And so, yeah, so it's not that hard. There are difficult times if we have, like, a 3 days straight of rain and cold. It gets a little frustrating, but for the most part, it's like, it's not too hard.
How about, what would your wife say? Would she agree with you that because it was, she was the one that pushed this? Does she like what it's become?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And she's got a little side business of her own too that she kind of works in little spare pockets as well.
Hmm.
We were kind of trying to more balance 50-50 work, but we kind of learned that didn't work. And more of her gifting, she even feels like this, that her more of her gifting is the homemaker, taking care of the kids, doing the homeschool, cooking the meals, things like that. She really loves that. And so we've struck a good kind of work-life balance where I'm doing most of the work and she's helping take care of the home. And so that frees me up to really focus on, growing the business. And she still gets time to work on her business here and there as well. So it's a win-win for both of us.
My wife and I are mulling over ideas like this. We're wanting to split our time between Florida and Colorado. Right now we're based in Denver. But I got a couple, businesses that keep me here right now, one in particular. And then this podcast can be done anywhere, of course. But, no, that's definitely in the works for us as well. So I love learning about this from people that are, actually doing it. So, man, you got chronic pain. I've been dealing with some of that, and a lot of people have been telling me about CBD oil. A lot of my friends who are athletes, who are runners, but I still don't know a whole lot about it. They're like, what is it, and what's the benefits, and what do you do with it? How do you ingest it? Is it something that's external? Like what's it like? I don't know anything about it, really.
Yep. All right, cool. I'll kind of give you just a little elevator pitch. So CBD stands for cannabidiol, which is one of many like over 100, 200 different cannabinoids found in both the cannabis and the hemp plant. And so where I think a lot of people get confused, they think, okay, CBD, it's part of the marijuana plant. I don't have anything to do with that. Well, it's actually totally different. So there's basically, with the cannabis plant, you basically have your marijuana plant and you have your hemp plant, and they're from the same, I guess species may be the right term. I could be wrong on that, but they're almost the same thing, but they're different in the sense that the hemp plant contains little to no THC, not enough to get you high at all. I think the federal mandate is 0.3% THC or less. And the cannabis plant, on the other hand, is your marijuana plant where, your recreational, even some of your medicinal users are looking for that THC to get that high, or even a lot of people are even using the THC for pain relieving properties. But CBD can also provide some of that as well. And so you get a lot of the medicinal and therapeutic benefits from CBD, but it comes without the high. So a lot of people are using it for chronic pain. Some people are using it for anxiety and stress and things like that. My wife, after our third child, she ended up having to get on antidepressant medications, and she hated it. We're a pretty natural family. We don't like to do medications if we don't have to. Then eventually she transitioned off those medications and replaced it with CBD. So people are using it to replace, ADHD medicine, anxiety medicine, depression medicine. So it's being used as a replacement for a lot of these medications that are really bad. A lot of veterans are using it to combat PTSD. People are replacing opioids with CBD oil because it's, a really powerful anti-inflammatory and can help cut down on those chronic pain issues a lot of people have. And it's really great for athletes too, because it is an anti-inflammatory. It can help you recover faster. It can help you heal from injuries quicker. And it's actually a really good sleep aid too. So if you're somebody who struggles with sleep, CBD can help with that. And, as people are athletes, they need sleep is an important part of recovery. So I always like to kind of tout that benefit of it as well. So that's kind of a little nutshell pitch I like to give.
It sounds like you were a fan of it for your own pain before trying to sell it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. And even, with kind of the transition out of the old company, that was a pretty stressful time. And, I noticed I remember sitting with another friend in the industry over coffee. He's like, you don't seem stressed at all. It's like, I know, it's kind of weird. It's like, I've been taking the CBD stuff. I think it's helping. And so even through these really stressful times, I still felt the stress at times, but for the most part, I was still sleeping well at night, which, for somebody who's going through really stressful times, that's usually kind of an issue. So once I saw the benefits from the stress relieving aspects, combining that with the relief I was getting from chronic pain, that kind of just reemphasized to me even more how awesome this product is and how involved I want to be in this industry and helping people get relief from, similar problems that I've been having.
We've had previous guests on the show that I'm friends with now, and He absolutely swears by it. He's been promoting it for a while now, and he said that's the only thing he's found that's relieved his back pain, that allows him to still work and raise a family and everything else. And even my grandfather was promoting it. Someone I didn't think even knew anything about it. He's telling me all about it when I was home for the holidays. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, it's funny. Where do you guys choose to go with your RV? Because you can run the business from anywhere, and I assume your wife, her side business can as well.
Oh yeah, totally. Yep. She works for a hair care company that's a direct sales company, hair care, so she can work hers from anywhere as well. Yeah, we honestly don't have that much of a plan right now. We're just kind of going wherever the wind takes us, and that's kind of where we're up in Denton right now. It wasn't our original plan, but we're going to start heading out west. But then it's funny too, because when our daughter got sick and we needed to stay put for a little bit, we pulled up the weather in the Guadalupe Mountains where we were planning on going, and it was low of 14 degrees. I'm like, oh man, maybe it wasn't going to be the best idea to head that direction just yet. Being in the RV with the kids and not having a way to keep our tanks from freezing, it's okay. So that's why we're up in North Texas right now, kind of waiting for it to get a little warmer before we start moving the wheels again. And plus we have a lot of friends and family up here too. So, don't mind sticking around when we got, people you love and stuff like that.
Wow. So when you go to travel, it's really just, you want to go see Colorado or Yellowstone or the Pacific Northwest, and you just kind of start planning that and playing it by ear, because your home is, well, where do you park it? So.
Yep, totally. Yeah. And we do have to make kind of tentative plans, especially if we're going to be, staying in any RV parks, because especially during the summer, you have to make your reservations or you're not going to get a spot. We're set up now where we can do some boondocking, where we can do some camping with no hookups, but our rig is 35 feet long, so we're kind of limited to where we can get to with that. Especially in Colorado. Further out west, there's a lot more stuff like that. Yeah, that's one of the things too we're kind of hoping to do more of in the future is, more off the grid type camping, so we're not, dishing out money for these RV parks that can get expensive.
Something about vehicles to me really stresses me out. My wife and I were up in the mountains two Christmas Eves ago, and our transmission went out on a pass during a blizzard on Christmas Eve as it was getting dark with no cell phone service. Mm-hmm. And that was a pretty stressful event, just trying to find a way to get out of that because the temperature was dropping rapidly. We were stranded. And now I'm just a little bit worrisome about just vehicles breaking down. And I just see back in November, y'all are going down the road and your tires flew off the RV.
Oh, yeah.
What the heck? What happened? How the heck did that happen? They're literally just not there.
Yeah, like you said, the wheels literally flew off the RV. So what had happened there? We had, it was a nightmare. We've had our share of stressors on the road, like the truck breaking down, like a tire blowing out. And with roadside assistance, it's you just call roadside assistance, you get taken care of. It might interrupt your trip for a bit, but we're pretty good at rolling with the punches. But that was stressful, and my mind was just exploding with that one. But what had happened there is our RV had been in the shop because of a small flood. They had to repair some insulation, and I was go ahead and take a look at my brakes. I think the brakes got shot on our last trip back from Colorado, and so he looked at them. Sure enough, he said, "Yeah, you need new brakes. You need new drums as well." I was okay. Go ahead, replace it all. We travel the country. We got to be safe. So they replaced all that. Gave us our rig, and I remember sitting there as he's showing me all the stuff he did. I remember looking at the lug nuts and thinking, that's different lug nuts, but okay, whatever. Didn't think much of it. Then, we're literally 2 miles down the road from leaving the shop, and I felt what I thought was a blowout. And so I just immediately start pulling over. And as I'm pulling over, I see a tire flying down the road. I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened here?
Holy cow.
And I get out of the truck expecting to have to jack it up and put on a spare. But then I see both tires on my driver's side are gone. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And right about that same time, the RV shop was calling me back. I'm like, oh man, they've already realized their problem. But he was actually calling me about another problem. He said, oh, I forgot to put a part a part on your toilet. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So this RV tech is calling me, and I was like, hey, dude, you got to get down the road right now. He's like, well, what's going on? I was like, the tires just flew off my RV. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, both tires on my driver's side literally flew off. I'm on the side of the road. He's like, okay, I'm coming over right now. And so he comes over there with the jack, and like we found one of the tires. The other tire we never even found. And he's sitting there telling me, he's like, okay, yeah, we'll need you to take it back to the shop. I was like, no, you're taking it to the shop, and you're going to put me and my family up in a hotel. And so he's like, okay. And so, yeah, he's trying to tell me, oh, everyone at the shop is gone. I'm like, well, somebody at the shop is going to get their truck and come here and get my RV. So they thankfully, owned up to their mistake, and they took it back in and they fixed it. And they even put new axles on the RV for me, because I was like, hey, look, guys, these axles could be damaged. I want you to take care of it. So thankfully they were, had enough integrity to admit their mistake and took care of all that. But it was just a huge hassle. And that's one of the things we've kind of come to realize. It's a trade-off when you're living this lifestyle. It's like, you're going to have problems. Things are going to come up. Inconveniences are going to happen. But, thankfully there's some good insurance plans out there you can get. So we have a plan in place now where, we can have hotel stay coverage for up to a month if, our RV or truck has to go in the shop for any reason. So we got coverage in place, and we upped our coverage after this last incident, just in case, something like that happened again. But yeah, it's like, but it's just, it's kind of a trade-off. You gotta be prepared for it. And it helps to go in there with the mindset of, okay, something will go wrong. It's just a matter of when.
I'm sure that all the joys that come from it just completely make up for it. And honestly, this stuff's going to happen into a normal house. Your wheels ain't going to fall off your normal house usually, but something's going to happen.
Yep.
There's weather, there's anything, there's break-ins. There's all kinds of flooding. Anything can go. If your RV was flooded, was it from inside the RV or was it from weather?
Okay, that's an embarrassing story.
Well,
so
you got to tell it now.
I'll just tell it brief. So like there's a little pedal on these RV toilets. They're all different, but it's basically this little spring-loaded flusher, and the spring broke. So you had to manually flush the thing, push it down, pull it up, and if you didn't pull it all the way up, water would slowly trickle into the bowl. And that's what happened one night before we went to bed. I think it was me, but it could have been my son getting up during the night. We don't know for sure. But water was just slowly trickling into the bowl overnight, and it overfilled that bowl, and it was overfilling for 8 hours straight. And we didn't know it until we woke up the next morning and we see the water everywhere. We're like, oh my gosh. Thankfully, it didn't come into the home. It all went outside the RV and kind of soaked up into the insulation underneath. And there's a little skirted underbelly that it kind of went into. So none of it came into the home. Thankfully, it all kind of just went into the subfloor, which they had to pull out. There's a little barrier that, that holds that insulation up. They had to pull all that out, rip all the insulation out, and put new stuff up in there. So it could have been much worse than it was. Like, after this happened, other people like, Instagram and Facebook friends reached out to us. Oh yeah, something like that happened to us. And, another RV couple we know, like similar, almost exact same thing happened to them, but only all the water came into their home. And so it's apparently not an uncommon thing in an RV, but just one of those things that's like, you kind of kick yourself for not fixing a problem sooner. And it ends up becoming worse.
And then your tires fall off.
Yep. And as a result, the tires fall off.
Wow. What an adventure, honestly.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, it was a crazy end of the year. It's like all that stuff kind of happened at the end of last year, and so it was kind of like just a little overwhelming that it all happened at one time. Stuff happening here and there isn't that stressful, but when a whole bunch of stuff happens at once, it's like you're just like, well, what's going on here?
So buying ski gear can be a pretty daunting process, especially when it's online, but Powder 7 made that process incredibly easy. They live by their mantra, which is skiing for all for skiing, by being completely dedicated just to skiing and encouraging anyone and everyone to participate all year long. It really doesn't matter if you're looking for your first pair of skis or looking to round out your quiver. They have literally thousands of skis in stock, new and used, so you can get a really good deal. A team of ski experts to help you find the perfect ski for you. And they stock every brand you can imagine. And not only skis, but they have everything else you need, whether it's a helmet or goggles, apparel, boots, bindings, poles, literally everything. The only thing they really don't get you is a lift ticket. It's crazy. So you can visit them online at powder7.com or stop by their store there in Golden, Colorado. But make sure you give them a shot before trying anywhere else for your ski equipment. It just kind of all seems to happen at once. I know the feeling. That's kind of how life works.
Yep.
And then you know, we haven't had any vehicle problems for a couple of years now, and I'm just waiting for it to all fall apart at the same time. But what does you know, you're a family of 3 kids, and you and your wife, and y'all live in an RV. What do the people around you think about that? Do they think you're crazy, or are they kind of accepted it now? And how do y'all react to that?
Yeah, so our family's initial reaction, they're like, everyone said, "You're crazy. You're going to drive each other nuts. You're going to get divorced. It's never going to work." And here we are, you know, almost 4 years later, and super happy, and like kind of like, "Hey, well, what's up now? We're doing fine." You know, and it's to the point now. A lot of people, I feel like, are, you know, kind of. I mean, I don't know if envious is the right word, but they love kind of the lifestyle we're living and kind of wish they could do it too. And it's kind of, in some sense, it's inspirational and motivational to others to also kind of step out and do the same thing. And we do occasionally run into people like, "Oh man, that's crazy. I could never do that." You know? But it's like, they think they can never do it until they actually do it, which was kind of how it was for me. It's like, at first I thought I couldn't do that, but we just jumped headlong into it, and we're still doing it, and we don't see ourselves stopping anytime soon.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Do y'all see yourselves doing this for a while?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we don't know when a stopping point is. We're kind of starting to dream about, you know, where would we maybe want to settle down long term and get a home. You know, the big dream is some sort of, you know, nice mountain home with a good view, with quick access to trails. That's kind of like the dream. If we were going to settle down, that's going to be the type of environment we want to be in. Somewhere like Golden, we love Golden, especially there's an RV park we get to stay in all the time. It's like right in downtown, like right on Clear Creek, walking distance. You're on the trail within like 2 minutes of walking. And so just like, you know, environments like that are stuff we are really kind of high on the list for when we do finally settle down. But for right now, we don't see it stopping within the next year or two, at least.
It's funny you say that, man. That's where I live. It's great. We don't have a view from here, but it must be nice because everybody else wants to be out here too. So, but yes, I think I know the RV park you're talking about, actually.
Oh yeah, it's a really cool park.
Cool. That's all. I'm sure there's probably a lot of other people there doing what y'all are doing.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's kind of a no frills park, but the location just can't be beat. And they take long-term people during the off season. So like during the summer, it's like 2 weeks is your max stay there, but you can literally like leave for 2 days and come back. And so we've done that before. We've like stayed there for a couple weeks, gone to another park for a week, then gone back to that one because we loved it so much. But we're even thinking at some point going up there and staying in the off season because you can stay there long term and just leave your RV park there for like several months at a time. But it's the only time they allow that is during the off season.
Okay. So when you do that, you're always able to find a spot when you come back 2 days later?
No, you still have to reserve it. Like,
okay.
I mean, when we've done that, we've reserved it like, I think it's 60 days in advance with that place. It's crazy.
Okay. No, I don't doubt it, man. I can totally, within a few years, see us doing what y'all are doing. And I think more and more people, sensible people that are running businesses, raising families, are realizing that this house thing is overrated. I remember my dad telling me my whole life, every time something went wrong with the house, I remember being like 12 years old and him saying, "Dadgum, owning a house is so overrated."
I know, right?
He says it to this day. But, you know, it's all about preferences and what you're willing to do, man. And that sounds like an awesome adventure. And
yeah, it is.
So with your business, you want to grow it. You're going to, hopefully grow a team. That's the plan, and keep living this lifestyle. Any other future plans with you and your family as they get older? Are y'all going to continue to homeschool them, or as some of our listeners call it, world school them?
Yeah. So we've thrown out set. Wild schooling, unschooling, homeschooling.
Yeah,
I don't, whatever you, whatever you want to call it. Like, right now our oldest is 6 and, middle child's 4. And so, the oldest is really the only one doing homeschool right now. The main emphasis right now is just on reading and lots of outdoor time. And the 4-year-old, he's even picking up on it because he sits there and watches her do her lessons. And so it's like, Kristy, my wife, she's more the homeschool minded one and is kind of planning all this stuff out. But she's got a few different philosophies she likes in terms of the homeschooling. But yeah, we definitely, our plan is to homeschool them all the way through high school. And, we'll see where it goes though. Who knows? Life always throws you curveballs. Things could change. You never know.
Wow. Well, y'all sound like the right type of people to be willing to roll with it.
Yep. We're pretty flexible.
That's awesome. So, any big trail runs coming up or races coming up for you?
Yeah, my plan is to do Run Rabbit Run 100 up in Steamboat Springs in September. That's kind of my goal. I had that on the calendar last year, but kind of life got in the way and we didn't make it up there. It's funny, we ended up making it up there around that time, but I didn't get the training in necessary, just because, life happened and got in the way. But, my hope is to actually, get it back on the schedule this year and get out there and run that one. Because my ultimate goal is to do the Hard Rock 100, but I need as many qualifiers as I can get to actually get into that race. So
that's a tough one right there, man. But
yep.
Any other advice you want to share with families maybe sitting here wanting to make a resolution and say, let's do something different with our life? Anything you've learned along the way that you could share?
Man, I would say, well, I don't know. So the biggest thing for me and that I like to tell other people is like, you just got to do it. It's like, I think as humans it's kind of just human nature to have like all these limiting beliefs just because of the way we've been raised and the way we've been taught and the way society teaches us, to, go after the American dream, get a job, get a home. Like this is just the way it is. It's what you have to accept. But that's just totally not true. It's a limiting belief. If there's something you want out there, like figure out how to make it happen and just go do it. Because chances are it can happen. And like in this lifestyle, like I was saying earlier, it's not like it's this big, expensive lifestyle. A lot of people, they just automatically think, oh yeah, that's so expensive, I can never do that. People that do that are filthy rich. It's absolutely not the case. It's like, I'm a firm believer that if you want to live this type of lifestyle, anybody can do it. You just gotta make the plan and make it happen.
And it is funny that people say it's more expensive because I'm like, you're living in something twice the size of your truck. It seems like that would be cheaper than living in a big old McMansion,
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, Caleb, man, thanks so much for being on the show. We'll share links to your business. How can people be in touch with you? That's the last thing I needed to ask you. How can they follow you guys and how can they find out more about your business?
Okay, yeah. So the best way for the business is Hemp Daddies, HEMPDADDYS.com. And you mind if I share a coupon code for the listeners?
Yeah.
Would that be all right?
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Let's do let's do Adventure 10. We'll make that the coupon code. I'll make a little note here, so I'll remember to do that. And so Instagram is probably the best way to follow the business, and it's just hemp_daddies. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Hemp Daddies all one word, so it's hemp_daddies. And for our family travels, Freedom and Tow is what we are on Instagram. And from there, we have a link tree on there. You'll be able to follow us on all the other accounts, and same with Hemp Daddies as well. If you look at our bio links there, you can find us in other places also.
All right, cool. That'll be great to follow you guys. I've already started following you on Instagram, your family's travels, because my wife and I we were going to do something like this. So I love to hear from firsthand experience, folks, what this is like. Well, Caleb, thanks so much for being on the show, man. And tell your family thanks for giving you a little time to do the interview.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks so much. It was a pleasure being on the show.
All right. Well, have fun and safe travels wherever y'all go, and try to hold on to all them tires.
All right. Will do. Thanks, man.
All right. See ya.
All right. Bye.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you know somebody that would make a good guest on the show, or if you have a pretty cool story about the outdoors or adventure sports that you want to tell us, please call us and leave a voicemail at 812-MAIL-POD. That is 812-624-5763. You can also send us an email at info@adventuresportspodcast.com. Again, it is always helpful to leave us a review on iTunes. And if you'd like to be a supporter of the show, you can give $5 a month at patreon.com/adventuresportspodcast. And links for all that stuff is also in the show notes. So thanks again for listening. And y'all get out there and do something so you can be on the show one day. All right, later. Also, don't forget, if you want to save 20% off the best backpacking food on planet Earth, go to peakrefuel.com and at checkout, use the code ASP20. So now in their 12th season, Powder 7 is setting the bar for ski retailers everywhere with their personalized service, wide selection of skis and gear. Visit them online at powder7.com or stop by their store in Golden, Colorado.